We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they can send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck. No. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. The man makes you know. He can't fucking breathe. The man makes you know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck. No. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the 300th episode of the I'm No Joe podcast. I, of course, am your hostess with the mostest, the meter. The meter does many things if you're nasty. I am here to guide you through all the shit talking, the shenaniganry, the fight announcements and fuckery, and all the other fun that has dripped out of the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. But before we get into all that, first and foremost, gentlemen, how you doing over there?
This is fucking Sparta. That's all I got to say. It's fucking 300. We got a pay-per-view to talk about. I don't think the 300th episode could have come at a better fucking time because, we have one guy who thinks he is the Spartan fucking king today, and it's going to be a fun one to talk about later.
Absolutely.
Just excited to be here and excited to talk about this pay-per-view, man. I personally can't say too much because I don't want to give away, certain aspects, but I really, really hope that the main event goes the way I want it to.
Absolutely. Fun times and lots of fun fights to talk about here. So let's get this shit show on the road here. So we are going to kick things off the way that we like to, with a little bit of news and recent events. fight confirmations, fight cancellations, things of that nature, official rumor confirmations or denials, things like that, relevant things in the MMA sphere that we feel you fine folks need to be aware of. Excuse me. First one, going back a couple weeks here, tying a nice little bow on the end of that story. For some fucking reason, the UFC decided in all of their ultimate wisdom that after playing spoiler to one of the highest touted prospects, I say with air quotes loosely, the UFC has ever fucking brought in, Marcus Bruchecha, Martin Boudet was released from the UFC. It was the last fight on his contract, and they decided they didn't want to sign him again, and it sure looked like sour fucking grapes for damn sure. Well, luckily, Martin did not have to wait long, because as soon as they got the confirmation that they were no longer in the UFC, Octagon MMA called him up right away, which is where the UFC originally signed him from, and said, come home, we will put you directly into a fucking title fight. And that's exactly how it played out. The UFC decided they didn't want to be in the Martin Boudet business anymore. Octagon was happy to step back up. They're throwing him right back into a title fight in Octagon 74, upcoming in just a couple of weeks. So we will definitely get more details on that as we get a little closer. Good for Martin Boudet. Fuck the UFC for being salty bitches like that. That being said, we had a gentleman this past Tuesday on Dana White Contender Series by the name of, I'm going to butcher this, I'm going to try it anyway, Basinger Susurkiev, I believe is how he pronounces it, won his fight on the Contender Series, told Dana, I want to fight in Chicago. Well, they made it fucking happen. He is one of Khamzat Chimaev's training partners, so it is no surprise that the man was ready and eager to do a quick turnaround and get his fight going here, and the UFC was more than happy to oblige, since Khamzat set a great precedent for those training partners coming into the UFC. Now, this gentleman is going to be making his turnaround on 5 days' notice. He fought Tuesday night. He will fight again Saturday night. So we will see how that one plays out for him.
Not gonna lie, that's pretty fucking exciting to me.
I'm curious to see how it plays out.
If he pulls the Hamzat fucking card and goes back to back on a week notice,
yeah, dude,
that's
that
gonna
bar
be
is set high.
Yeah, that's a really high bar. But if it does happen, you know
With
what that
one
means?
of his training partners, even.
Yeah, they're gonna go, okay, we kind of screwed the pooch with Hamza. We might want to try to rocket this guy up a little faster.
Yeah, he's gonna get the fucking jets strapped right to him for damn sure. I 100% agree. But on the other side of that coin, if he eats a bag full of dicks, they might never pull anybody that Khamzat knows into the UFC ever again, regardless of your performance. So this is definitely a double-edged sword. I don't know. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
But on 5 days turnaround, he's probably still in peak physical form at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he ain't going to have to worry about much other than just staying loose and not getting anything overworked. Yeah, could be real interesting. Sticking with this coming weekend in Chicago, we got a couple other announcements here. The first one, we found out this week that Bobby King Green is officially injured and out of his matchup, and they are not looking to find a replacement. This is just too short of a notice. They're just not going to mess with it. The other one that might be a little bit more impactful here, UFC 319 was actually supposed to be another dual purpose pay-per-view, the way that they generally work these out in the summertime. This was also going to be the finals for the Ultimate Fighter season 33. The finale fights were going to be taking place on this card, and they are no longer going to be doing that. The gentleman named Cezinando ended up getting hurt yesterday at the PI while training. So they are going to postpone that fight because that one obviously still matters. One of them is going to get the contract and the trophy and the $100,000 and all that shit. So that one still has to be settled. They're waiting right now to determine exactly the extent of the injury and how long it's going to take before they can reschedule that. But that one will be getting put back together. But that's 2 fights off of this weekend's card that have already been nipped in fight week. Hopefully the MMA gods have been appeased and we don't lose any more before we get to Saturday, for fuck's sake. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Raquel Pennington is officially out of her fight with Norma Dumont for UFC Noche. That was going to be October 14th. Instead, Now they have moved Norma Dumont. She is getting a replacement fight, but they're moving her off of the Noche card. Now they're moving her to the November 1st. I think it's going to be Vegas 10 or Vegas 111, I believe. November 1st, back in Vegas, it will be Norma Dumont versus Ketlin Vieira now. So an interesting matchup. Vieira's been hovering right around the top. Obviously, she's not the former champion like Raquel Pennington was, but at this point, if Dumont wants to stay active, you kind of got to take what they're going to give you. Next one here. I don't always agree with fighters when they get in their feelings about shit, but this is one time where I actually do, because not only was it apparently told to the fighters themselves, but it was actually mentioned on the broadcast during the Archie Colgan fight that was the number one contender fight, that the winner of that match would be facing Usman Nurmagomedov sometime this fall for the belt. And then we got the official announcement yesterday that no, that in fact was not the case, that they are indeed going to do the rematch, Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes Part 2, back in Abu Dhabi again on October 3rd. And Archie Colgan is kind of just left sitting out in the cold. He posted on his social media that they are working on putting together another fight for him before the end of the year. But at this point, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. He is clearly the number one contender, and they have remade a fight with someone else. So regardless of what he does, win or lose, he still has to wait till sometime in 2026 for his chance to fight for the belt that he already earned. It's kind of a real shitty deal there. And I will say this isn't on Paul Hughes, because Paul Hughes arguably won the first fight. And if they were going to do that rematch, it should have been fucking immediate. And they didn't. They gave Paul Hughes another fight, which he went in and won in 45 goddamn seconds, earning him this rematch. But at this point, that rematch should be on hold while Archie Colgan gets the shot that he fucking earned. PFL doesn't seem to agree with that, which is, to no surprise, one of many reasons why PFL fighters are jumping fucking ship and coming to the UFC. At this rate, there aren't going to be many PFL fighters worth a shit to jump ship if they keep treating them like this. They are already the self-proclaimed, quote-unquote, number 2 co-leader in combat sports, so they shot themselves right in the foot right out of the gate, and they seem to be just putting the concrete in their own boots at this point. So hopefully Archie Colgan can get the fuck out of there and get over to the UFC, where he could actually make something of his career sooner rather than later. But if not, I would like to see him face the fucking winner of Paul Hughes versus Usman Nurmagomedov, the rematch, because he should have been in there instead of Paul Hughes. PFL go to PFL though, apparently. Over on the gloveless side of the house, though, also taking place on October 4th, BKFC will be making their debut premiere appearance in the state of New Jersey, and they have added a very interesting matchup to the main event to get folks interested in it. The king of violence himself, the Platinum One, will step back into the squared circle. Mike Perry will be taking on Jeremy Stevens in the main event of the inaugural BKFC New Jersey card on October 4th. The shit talking that has been going on between those two for the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 months since Stevens came over to BKFC to begin with has just been building towards this and building towards this. Jeremy Stevens got the shit beat out of him by Mason Jones in the UFC with the gloves on. I guess he didn't watch many Mike Perry fights, either in the octagon or out of it, because for lack of anything else, Mike Perry hits like a fucking truck and can take all the punches you're going to fucking throw at him. Ask MVP. He learned that the fucking hard way. Stevens has been knocked out in, I believe, 3 of his last 7 fights, viciously in all 3 situations. That doesn't get harder to do the longer you fight. That only gets easier. Your jaw only gets worse. There is no way to rebuild that jaw and make yourself more less susceptible rather to knockouts, to toughen that fucking lineup. Once it's cracked, it only cracks easier every time after that. And now Stevens has made the fucking mistake of stepping in against one of the hardest hitting motherfuckers we have seen in a long time. I anticipate big fucking violence in this matchup. I don't always promote the BKFC cards. This one, I'm telling you, will be fun to watch. Same day, October 4th, UFC 320 from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas got a second chance added to it here, if you will. Newcomer to the organization coming from Octagon MMA, or excuse me, from KSW MMA, I apologize. Jacob Wilczak will be making his UFC debut against Patchy Mix. They are giving him another shot, and they are doing it on a pay-per-view. So they're not taking the pressure off, but they are going to give Patchy Mix another chance to do something here. Obviously not to the same height as his initial debut was after that type of performance, but he is getting another shot, which a lot of other folks have not gotten in his situation. So hopefully he doesn't fucking squander this one, because if any of you have been watching Patchy Mix as long as some of us have, you were screaming at your fucking television because that didn't look anything like the guy that we've been watching for the last couple years. So at this point, either he has fucking lost it while he has been sitting on the sidelines, or those initial debut jitters really were stronger than he wanted to let on, and he's going to do Patchy Mix things like we are used to seeing in his second chance here. Because I'm telling you right now, if he shits the bed as hard in his second chance against a guy making his debut in the UFC as he did in his first go around, we will not see a third Patchy Mix fight in the UFC. I'm telling you that right now with 100% fucking confidence. The price tag that he came in with, they're not giving him a third chance if he shits the first two. So this is quite literally the make it count or get off the pot moment for Patchy Mix here. We will find out in October if he really was meant to be a UFC fighter. 2 weeks after that, UFC Vancouver, returning back to Canada, got a very interesting fight added to it here, both because of where this card takes place and the names involved. Cheeto Vera stepping back into the octagon, taking on Ayman Zahabi at home in Vancouver. That is a great matchup to begin with, but then you add to the fact they're doing it in fucking Canada. That's going to make it that much more interesting, in my opinion, here. Two more quick ones to round out the news here real fast. First one, to the surprise of almost no one who has been paying attention, it is now official. 2 weeks after retiring and saying he had nothing left to prove, Jon Jones has officially re-entered the UFC anti-doping testing pool. He said that the mention of the UFC fight on the White House lawn was just the motivation that he needed to finally get back into serious training mode. Not the year and a half of ducking the fucking contender who should have had the fight that he ignored. Not the bullshit sham of a fucking fight against Stipe that they put on and made us fucking wait for. Not the excuses, not the fucking car crashes, not the court dates, not threatening to kill cops over the phone. None of that, but a mention of a potential White House UFC fight just happened to be what Jon Jones needed to get his ass off the couch after 2 fucking weeks and decide that he wanted to take things serious all of a sudden. Fuck Jon Jones and fuck that UFC White House card. That being said, last thing I've got here, I saved it for last for a reason, because it is probably arguably the largest story in combat sports happening right now, and we still don't even know all the final details of it. But what we do know is that within 48 hours, literally, and this has been said by Dana White himself, within 48 hours, the UFC's TV rights deal was signed, sealed, and delivered. Out completely from fucking left field, the UFC now makes a full circle journey back to where it all began. The UFC started its broadcast on Spike TV, and they are now going to be homed on Paramount Plus, the people that took over and absorbed Spike TV. So UFC is coming home and going full circle. This to the tune of 1.1 billion with a B per year broadcast rights for all cards, including numbered events, will be broadcast on Paramount Plus, and some cards to be simultaneously broadcast directly on CBS. The biggest part I said there was numbered events. because as of January 1st, 2026, when the Paramount deal takes over, there will never be a UFC pay-per-view event ever again. They will now all be included in your Paramount Plus subscription. Pay-per-view is dead and everyone has abandoned it, including the UFC. The few folks who are still using it, I don't think are going to be using it for long. We have evolved past that type of broadcast and it just doesn't fucking work anymore. I saw someone yesterday break it down to watch every pay-per-view in a calendar year, plus an ESPN Plus subscription to watch the non-pay-per-view cards. It costs almost $2,000 a year to be a UFC fan. That's just the UFC. That's not counting any other organizations. That is just UFC's regular broadcast and the UFC's pay-per-view cards. Almost $2,000 a year. With the Paramount Plus subscription, it will be under $150 a year to see every single card. Pay-per-views, which are now going to be numbered events, not pay-per-views anymore, are included in that number. The amount of eyes that will be opened to the UFC, the amount of opportunities that will be out there now are substantially increased. The availability that this will create for people to have to spend literally $13 a month, $12 a month to watch all of the former pay-per-view cards, to watch all of the regular cards, all the Dana White Contender Series, all the Ultimate Fighter, the full library will be accessible through Paramount Plus. Everything that you used to have a UFC Fight Pass subscription for, an ESPN Plus subscription for, plus the pay-per-views themselves, are all going to one place now for less than $15 a month. Now, before everybody gets excited, there are absolutely as many problems with the Paramount Plus app right now as there have been with the ESPN Plus app in the last few years. So it's not like we're getting a complete fucking revamp overhaul and everything magic wand becomes brand new and perfect. We ain't there yet. But Paramount Plus has made a statement and they understand how important this is. So they're going to spend the rest of 2025 fixing and upgrading and preemptively building out the rest of their streaming broadcast system so as to try and avoid any problems that ESPN Plus has had in the last 2 years. They are literally learning from others' mistakes. This genuinely could be a good deal for UFC fight fans. Will it be better for the fighters? We don't know yet. Dana says yes, but Dana says a lot of things.
Well, Dana's already started to walk back the pay-per-view idea.
Oh, I'm sure.
He said there was something where he said the door is still open to the pay-per-view sales in the UFC model during the CBS, aka Paramount deal.
Right.
So, guess what? It's going to end up being the same fucking thing. They'll probably give you like one or two to start the year, just so that way it gets people on the hook for Paramount. Because what they say, the total sale was like $7.7 billion or something.
Billion. Yep.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy the amount of money. I mean, their stocks went up 10 fucking percent in one day.
Yep.
The second that happened and it went public, 10%. That's a big jump in any stock market in a single day.
Yes. Fuck yes, it is.
And especially when it comes to a sporting business.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can say, well, WWE's in there. WWE is not what is making that money. The UFC makes that money. Now, with them saying, yeah, it's 7.7 billion, but we know Daddy Dana isn't just going to let it slide with, oh, well, we made our $7.7 billion, so we're just going to give the next fucking umpteen years to them with free pay-per-views. No, why? When I can fucking scratch these sons of bitches for even more. Because you know that's what's going to happen. It's going to, oh, well, we're going to do this one-off pay-per-view, and that one-off pay-per-view is going to turn into the one-off pay-per-views that we have every month. So
Well,
it's...
he did let slip that I think part of that plan is actually incorporated in it, because he made a point to mention that the numbered cards are no longer going to be pay-per-views. They're just calling them numbered events now, But he did say that along with I think it's 47 total broadcasts a year. It's something like 32 or 33 regular, I say with air quotes, fight night cards, plus 12 numbered cards, which would be the pay-per-views, plus 4 quote unquote premium events throughout the year on top of all of that.
Which are paid per views.
So it sure sounds like they're going to take the pay-per-view model and hold it back and do a WWE type of thing where, sure, all the fight nights and all the former pay-per-view cards, all the numbered events are all going to be on Paramount Plus. But if you want to see, UFC SummerSlam, you're going to still
Royal
have to cough up
Rumble.
$175 fucking dollars, and they'll do
Yep.
4 of those a year to make up the difference.
Oh yeah. And what's really funny about that is, yes, you might get numbered events where they're going to be much better than your run-of-the-mill fucking hangover cards that we talk about day in and day out because that's what there's the most of. That is not going to save you from the ticket price if you want to go to a live event. That ticket price is
not
still
at
going to
all.
continue to increase.
Oh yeah,
Because
it's only
they've
gonna
got to have
increase.
something to brag about how we made so much money in ticket
Yeah.
sales at the door.
Record sales every time. Yep.
Go fuck right off. I don't believe a goddamn word of any of that. That's why the second I heard the pay-per-view model was dead, I was like, no fucking isn't. And I immediately started researching. And there's already stories out there about him rolling back his statement saying, well, it's a dead. No, it's not fucking dead. He's just figuring out a different way to spin it. I mean, he's
Trying to
shining a
walk it right
turd
through.
and trying to resell it to the farmer.
Yeah, I'm trying to walk it through the side door after he walks you out the front with a smile.
Yep.
Yeah, typical salesman maneuver. Dana's gonna Dana.
Not mad at him. Make the money if you can make the money. But I
Yeah,
mean, don't get me wrong.
he's-
I'm mad at him. I'm not mad at him for being a good businessman.
he's treating the business like a business, and you can't be mad at that. When he tries to play the fucking good guy part, and he's full of shit, then we can give him the finger for it.
Yeah, that's where my anger comes in.
Absolutely.
Not mad at the businessman side of it. I get it.
Right.
Your job is to make the company more money, and you're doing a damn fine job.
That's damn sure what he's doing for sure. But that is what I've got for news for this week. Either one of you gentlemen have anything over there I might have missed?
You went over recent fight announcements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did I miss it? Did you get the Karolina Kowalkiewicz fight that's announced for October?
No, I did not hear that one.
She's got an October 11th fight. Let me pull it back up. I don't remember who the hell it is against.
Interesting.
But it's
I did not
October
see that
11th.
one. So that's fuck is that? That's in between.
It is against Polastri.
Oh, Palostri, yeah.
Yeah, in Rio de Janeiro. October 11th. It'll be her third time fighting in Rio. And she put a thing on there on her Instagram that said third time's a charm. So she's had a really rough time in Rio. So
yeah, no shit. Interesting. No, I didn't catch that one. Be a good card, a good fight to add to that Rio card.
yep, be a good little hangover relief card in there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm still a Carolina fan no matter what, no matter how bad she's screwing the pooch or not.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, she's always been fucking awesome in my book as well. I agree. Yeah. All right. So in that case, normally this would be the point where we'd have our young fella tell us all about all the names that are going to be names before they are names. But unfortunately, life is life in this evening, so we don't have that option. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to bring in our favorite casual here to get a quick little pick on our fights this evening, the casual corner, our fan favorite segment here. We're going to bring in our buddy Flintlock. So Flintlock, we've got an interesting pair of fights to top this card off this evening, and I am curious about how you see these two going forward. So the co-main event we will go to first here, because I know you haven't heard us talking about this fight potentially for months now, but it is finally coming through in some fucking variation. Aaron Pico versus Lerone Murphy.
I'm gonna go with Pico only because That's all I've been hearing about, and I'm excited to see him fight.
Definitely understand. That's what I said. I figured that one would be going that way because we've literally been talking about Aaron Pico since before he officially signed to the damn UFC. So I am very, very excited to see him fucking get his shot in the big show this weekend as well. And so that'll bring us to our main event: Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev.
Duplessis, I want him to knock him out, but he's probably gonna choke him.
Definitely a good possibility. Definitely a possibility there as well. Very interesting takes. Very interesting takes indeed. Much appreciated, sir. Thank you very much for your opinions there. So, at that point, that will bring us to the only segment of the show that does require its own individual disclaimer. So, if you will, Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology does give you the option to go onto their website, create a free account, and make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups. So we made one. We call it I'm No Bookie, all one word, or group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcomed and encouraged to make yourself an account, join the group, and then let us know who the hell you are so we can hold your picks accountable with our picks in the segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
So, let's talk about the elephant in their fucking room right off the get-go here. I decided, since I was doing such a fantastic job over the last couple of weeks, that I would just absently minded forget to put in my picks last week. I just cut the dick off before I had a chance to stomp on it. That's all there was to it. And to add to the fun there, my buddy Don did the same thing. He just decided, I'm just not going to put the picks in. All right, cool. There's two of us. Just sidelining it because, had to get myself back ready because we've got another Grand Prix coming up. Not this week, but that will be starting with the Shanghai card in China. So that is the 28th, 23rd, something like that. Yeah, 23rd next week. So, for those of you who are watching this, I know you like free shit. Tapology is free. Make a fucking account. Let us know who you are, and we'll tell you when you do well, you get a pat on the back, or when you step on your dick, trip over your beef curtains, whatever it is, male, female, I don't care. You're still going to catch hell when you do bad. That's just how it works. We're an equal opportunity lover and hater over here, so welcome to the fucking club. Now, without further ado, minus those of us who were choosing to not participate this week, whether advertent or inadvertent, Christian finally got his shit together and took home a top spot. Good job. Of course, he had to do it on a week when I decided to not do picks because, it just seems I had to give him one. We gave him one. Maybe that's why he decided not to show up tonight and go to bed early. I'm just saying, there might be something to that. Now, for those of you who aren't in the know, that also means there were two people at the bottom of the pile. Normally it's just one, but there were two. There was a fucking fist fight, a fist of cuffs, and who was going to smash whose dick, and it just didn't matter. Oh, Vinny and the meter fucking going at her. 580 to 550 points. Meter takes home that prize of saying, yeah, I stomped on my dick the hardest. But to both of their credits, they were both well north of the 500 mark on picks. 8 of 12 correct for Meter and 9 of 12 correct for Vinny. Oh, not a huge difference there. And to be honest, not a huge difference from there and first place in our group, which was Christian at 10 of 12 correct. It just so happened to work out that way. You can have a great week and still be in fucking last place. But to everybody's credit who did get their picks in, everybody's well north of the 500 mark. So congrats to everyone. Come over, join Tapology, Group 965. I'm no bookie. We don't care how you look for it. We'll get you in. And then if you want to get in on that next Grand Prix, let us know who you are and bam, you're fucking in. Now, if you don't tell us who you are on there, I can't call you out. So be very careful. If I recognize your screen name and it's the same in Tapology as it is either on Twitch or on YouTube, I will call your ass out when you do poorly in here. So if you don't want to be known, you might want to tweak your screen name, not just a little bit, but a lot, because I'm smart enough to put two and two together. That's all I'm saying. But come join us. It's a good time. It's just nothing but bragging rights. No money is exchanged. It's all for fun. So come join us. See how you stack up. Maybe you should be taking our spots talking about the fights here. Who knows? Now, with all that being said, we're going to move on to this week for fight odds here in UFC 319. There is quite a few on here, and being as I was able to find them again, guess where we're going back to? We're going back to BetMGM because it's been a while since we've been able to get the back-to-backers from them. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty stoked on that. It's pretty exciting. So that is, we are less than 48 hours out at this point. Well, less than 48, yeah, no, less than 48 hours even from the main card starting. So we're going to go down here with just a couple of the semi-wide odds, and then we'll hit some of the bigger, wider odds there on the card here as well. For the most part, this is another one of those ones where a lot of the odds are coin flippy, which you love to fucking see. We're going to start with, we'll go right here. We're going to start with somebody who came in with a whole lot of hype and shit the fucking bed. We're going to start there. And that's Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura came in with a lot of fucking hype, gave him a title shot, shit the fucking bed. Granted, he's also fighting one of the baddest sons of bitches on the planet right now in that weight class, to be fair. Fighting Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott coming in as a plus 240 underdog over a minus 300 in Kai Asakura, which is a little crazy, but you know, we'll see. Tim Elliott's kind of he's a get or get got kind of guy, so that'll make for a very interesting and exciting fight. Another one of the slightly wider odds we have on here, Chase Hooper and Alexander Hernandez. Hernandez coming in as a plus 260 underdog and Hooper a minus 325 favorite. Makes complete fucking sense to me. Hooper's game is really starting to round out, so it's starting to get to that point where you're going, you know, it's about time he starts getting a little bit of those wider odds. Like I said, for the vast majority of this, the rest of the fight card is pretty coin flippy, like 150 to minus 200. So I'm not going to call all of those out because that's just way too many. But I am going to touch on the widest odds on the card here. And I know I'm going to fuck this all up, and I'm perfectly all right with it. Besengur Surakayev, which is probably really terrible, but I'll take it. It's coming in as a minus 800 favorite over Nolan in a plus 550 underdog.
That's
to be honest,
contender series. That's contender series, dude. That's Kamzat's training partner.
yeah, that's Hamzat's training partner, which is why they're giving him such a fucking wide margin. Because, I mean, he's training with legitimately one of the best guys in the fucking world. I mean, guy's fighting for a title, so obviously legitimately one of the best fighters in the world at this point. But the wide odds, I think, are a little crazy considering he's doing this on 5 days' notice. But, you know, this might be one of those times where you go, bet the house on the fucking underdog, because on 5 days' notice, all kinds of shit can happen. However, we've seen it happen in the past where somebody just decides to switch weight classes and have two fights in fucking 2 weeks and blow the fucking roof off of the entire UFC. So maybe not the whole house, but it might be worth like $100 bet on Eric Nolan because he wins. That's $550 in your pocket on $100 bet. That's a pretty good fucking turnaround. Now, with that being the widest odds on the fucking card here, do the same thing I always do: co-main and main. Aaron Pico making his UFC debut against Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy has not been a slouch. Aaron Pico, we know what he's been capable of, and a lot of us are very excited to see him come over because, to be honest, he's probably the best of the Bellator bunch, in my opinion. He is only coming in as a minus 170 favorite over Lerone Murphy and a plus 140 underdog. Little crazy to me, if you ask ask that they're putting the UFC veteran as the underdog in this case. And it's no shade at Aaron Pico because he's a legitimate bad motherfucker. But generally, you would think guy who's already been in the UFC, who is ranked and highly ranked at that, is the underdog on a guy that's just coming over to the UFC, no matter how he's performed in his previous fucking successors. But there also, as much as I hate to say it, there's levels to MMA. The UFC, unfortunately, they generally do have some of the best talent. They have the most of the best talent in the world. I'm not saying there's not the best talent elsewhere, but I'm saying as a whole, they have most of the best talent. So coin flip, I can kind of understand this one. It's pretty close, but still. Having Pico come in, I think I would have given them both around a minus 100. Fucking just a straight coin flip this one. Just because he is coming in, first fight in the UFC, and where? A fucking co-main event. Which is crazy. Who comes in as a co-main event on their first fight in the UFC on a pay-per-view card? Not just your average everyday Sunday, guess what? We're having a hangover card, but a fucking pay-per-view. Either way, it is what it is. Now, here's where things get interesting. When we get into this main event and Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, they have the fucking champ coming in as a plus 200 underdog. Khamzat coming in as a minus 250. I smash, I kill everybody. It's still fucking selling. Look, I like Khamzat just as much as the next guy, but you can't tell me after that Gilbert Burns fight that you still think he is one of the greatest fighters to ever live. Don't get me wrong. He put Bobby Knuckles down quick, fast, and in a fucking hurry and in a painful way. I'm not saying he can't do that to Dricus, but I'm also not a big Dricus fan, but I'm also an honest guy. Every time you think Dricus is going to get tired, that motherfucker has another gear. He does not get tired. Khamzat does get tired, so he's going to have to finish this quick, fast, and in a hurry to continue to keep that under that fucking status. But what do I fucking know? So, I mean, this might be another one where you bet the champ here. But I'm not going to count Hamzat out because that is a one crazy son of a bitch. And with him changing gyms, he seems to have gotten his shit back together. So we'll see. But yeah, minus 250 favorite for Hamzat, plus 200 underdog and the champ and Dricus. A little crazy, but those are what BetMGM says. Now, know that if you look at odds somewhere else, they will vary because everywhere sets their own odds. If you decide to bet responsibly. I'm not telling you to gamble. I'm not telling you to not gamble. But if you do gamble heavily, and part of that is because of what we've told you, and you win a lot, feel free to go down below and join our Patreon. Well, maybe $10 a month if you're feeling so generous. But you can go as little as $1 a month. We're not going to complain. It's totally worth it, but we would appreciate it either way. But feel free. Then while you're at it, join the goddamn Tapology. It's fucking free. That doesn't cost you a fucking dime. And I know you cheap motherfuckers like this, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching us on here, Twitch, or on your streaming platform of choice for audio only, because we know we own mirrors. We get it. Fucking do something. Come join us. Have some fun with us. This is all about fun. I mean, we've only been doing it for 300 fucking episodes. Why? I can tell you I'm not fucking rich. It's for fucking fun at this point. Although, if I do get rich off of this at some point, I will remember all of these times that I said that, and I'm still going to say the same goddamn thing, that I'm still not going to be rich because, well, I have kids and a missus and a dog and debt. So yeah, I'm not going to be rich anytime soon. But yeah, come join us. It's a good time. We'll see y'all next week when it comes to time to talk about who shit the bed during the pay-per-view and who didn't.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. That being said, normally at this point in the show, we would run a terrifying GIF across the screen and stop being friendly and get all grr and all that fun stuff. But unfortunately, we're a little low on bodies this week, as you may be able to tell if you are watching. If you are just listening, we obviously have avoided a segment here because we're missing a person. So we are down too many folks to do a pit this evening. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to give you a quick little rundown here. There are a lot of good fights on this UFC 319 card, but there is also a decent amount of filler in here, even with 2 fights lost. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the fights that we give a fuck about and the fights that we don't give a fuck about here. So we'll start with the fights that we don't give a fuck, because there are absolutely a couple of them on here. For me, first and foremost, Nursultan Ruzaboyev versus Brian Battle. I get that they are going to make this fight, that Brian Battle has been talking all that shit, and Nursultan's the one that has stepped up trying to make him shut his fucking mouth. But this fight doesn't belong on a fucking pay-per-view card, not even on pay-per-view prelims. This is the definition of a hangover card fight. This is exactly one of those contractual obligation fights that we talk about all the time that get put on the Apex cards in Vegas so that all 7 of Dana's friends who are sitting in the audience can go ape shit if something happens. This fight does not need to be on this card. I don't think it's going to be all that exciting to begin with, and I definitely don't think it's going to be pay-per-view level exciting. The other one, this one hurts a little bit to say, but I'm here to be honest. I'm not here to be popular. Gerald Mearshart versus Mikhail Alexachek. I love GM3, and I will wave that Polish plower flag until my fucking dying day. But this fight has boring as shit written all over it. GM3 is on a hard fucking bad side run right now. Alexachek just can't seem to put all the fucking pieces together. Every time he looks great, he trips over his dick immediately afterwards. And we're coming off of a decent performance, so I'm expecting a dick trip here. This is another one of those fights. This would be perfect for UFC Vegas 10 fucking whatever from the Apex. This fight does not belong on a pay-per-view card. The last one for me in the don't give a fuck is a little more complicated than the other ones. It's not that I don't think the fight needs to be made. I agree that this is a good fight. My problem with this fight is the placement. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Praches. I am absolutely stoked for this fucking fight. I think this is another chance for the fighting nerds to stamp their fucking domination all over the fucking UFC and prove exactly why they are who they said they are. But at the same fucking time, Jeff Neal has so many fucking highway miles on him. Yes, he is a tough son of a bitch. And yes, he has got a fucking right hand of steel. But he's also staring across the fairway of 18, looking right at the fucking clubhouse in the distance. And he can see that fresh beer getting served at the bar, and it's making him drool a little bit. I like Jeff Neal, but he is not long for this organization. He is not long for the fight world in general. And I don't think that this is going to be a good night for him. I have a feeling Praches is probably going to run him the fuck over. And as fun as that might be, I don't feel like this should be on the main card, especially when we've got some other fights on here that I feel are definitely more deserving of a main card spot. This one, I feel it's okay on the pay-per-view. I just think it's more of a prelim fight than it is a main card fight, because Praches is definitely climbing the fucking stairs quickly. He just ain't quite there yet, because if you're going to sit here and look me in the eyes and tell me that Jeff Neal is a main card pay-per-view fighter, I'm going to call you a fucking liar.
You nailed the fucking, just hit it right on the fucking head with those. Brian Battle, I don't even talk about him. We just move on. That's like, don't talk about Bruno. You just move on. I mean, if you've seen the kids movie, I have kids, obviously, so you get it. And the GM3, Michael X check, I'm kind of on that same boat. I like both of them individually, but together, that's sitting boring. But there's another one I do need to add to this, and it's gonna seem a little odd, and that is gonna be Chase Hooper and Alexander Hernandez. I don't think they belong on this card. I like Chase Hooper. I've liked the kid since he fucking came into the UFC. Namely because he had the whole young innocence thing going on, but still fucking wrecking face, which was great. Alexander Hernandez is way past his prime. Way past his prime. The last time he was in his prime was before he fought Cowboy Cerrone, and Cowboy Cerrone dismantled the fuck out of him. That's when Alexander Hernandez was in his prime. They're literally saying, Chase Hooper, if you can beat this guy up who still has decent stand up, we're gonna get you moving in the right direction again. Because he did have a little rough spot in there. And I mean, there's a reason why he lost fucking he's lost 2 fights in fucking UFC. So he hasn't been able to hit that trajectory that the UFC initially thought he was going to with the being young and just fucking strangling the shit out of people. This is kind of a shit or get off the pot moment for Chase Hooper, and Alexander Hernandez, like I said, he's well past his prime. I think this is a hangover card fight and not a main hangover card fight, like a premier prelim hangover card fight. So as much as I do like Chase Hooper, I don't think this fucking belongs here. We'll just leave it at that. And there is another one on the main card that is just not worth my fucking time at all. Well, it's slightly worth my time, but only if it goes one way. That is Jared Cannonier and Michael Venom Page. I still, to this day, don't think the UFC should have ever have signed MVP at all. And I'm praying to God that Killer Gorilla goes in there and lives up to his fucking name and beats the ever-living shit out of MVP and retires that son of a bitch. Look, to MVP's credit, he's not a bad fighter. He's really awkward. He's got some weird styles, but I just don't like him as a person. The way that he acts in the cage after he wins. I mean, you go back and watch when he caved in fucking Cyborg's skull and throws a fucking Pokeball at him. You, sir, go die in a fire instead of checking on the guy. Of man, I know what I fucking did. I'm gonna stand there and be a showboating cocksucker. Nah, you're not my kind of people. You don't belong in this sport. Look, don't get me wrong. There is always a time for showboating, and I will 100% agree with that. But when you know the devastation that happened to somebody in there, and you can't stop for a minute, that tells me you're a terrible fucking human being as a whole. I don't care what you do outside of the fucking octagon. You could be fucking serving soup to fucking wheelchair bound kids for the rest of your fucking life, and that's not going to make up for the kind of scumbag fuckery that I've seen you do in the past. So yeah, not a fan. Don't think they should have signed him. I think this is Jared's time to fucking hit him with the deny fucking look. I'm gonna say it, and it might piss some people off, and I do not care right now. He's gonna get that stamp out and just go deported. Fucking send his ass back to fucking England. We don't want him here. I mean, there's a lot of ice in Chicago, so I'm just saying it's a possibility. But yeah, don't think that belongs there. Just not the fight for me. And I will say I kind of argue with you a little bit on the Jeff Neal Carlos Prates thing, but that's only because I like Carlos Prates. Fuck Jeff Neal.
I definitely get that. Definitely get that as well. Justin, what do you think? You got any fights on this card that you are just not excited about yet?
Well, I was sitting here thinking while you guys were talking, like this is how you can tell that I'm still, a casual because there's not a fight that I'm not excited for. Like I genuinely like to sit and see all the fights. Um, Do some of them turn into walrus slut fights and let's grope each other for 25 minutes? Yeah, sometimes. But for the majority of the time, it's usually something pretty exciting or something that I haven't seen before. Uh, as much as I want Duplessis to just leave Kamzat in a pile of blood and beard, I'm probably more excited about the Aaron Pico fight. I just want to see what he can do. He's in the
Definitely
UFC
understand that.
now. He's in the UFC now. You know, there's been plenty of people that you told me this guy's he's come from this organization and he's a complete badass, and then he just falls on his face. But there's also been people that come from different organizations that are complete badasses and just go on a tear, and that's that's what excites me. Seeing somebody, I don't know, I know some of these guys now, but I don't know all of them.
Right.
And I, 9 times out of 10, somebody that's walking through the ring, unless it's a championship fight or they are ranked highly and fight very frequently, it's a toss up for me. I'm just here to watch and see who wins.
I get that.
I'm able to recognize some stuff now, but other than that, it's just a big funhouse for me.
I definitely get that. Definitely get that as well. So we'll flip over here and we'll go the other way then. We'll go the fights that we do indeed give a fuck about, because there are some fights on here that are just I honestly couldn't be fucking bothered. If they turn out cool, cool. If they turn out to be 15 minutes of what the fuck are we doing, I'll probably do a dab during that video and not pay much attention to the fight itself. But there are a couple on here that I am individually curious about here, definitely more than the others. The first one for me that I'm genuinely curious about on this card is Jessica Andrade versus Lupe Godinez. Jessica Andrade is another one of those fighters that is just racking up fucking highway miles, and that odometer is getting ready to fucking roll over again. She has literally been there, done it, and got the fucking t-shirt in all three of the most predominant classes for women in the UFC. She has literally fought at 15, 25, and 35, and probably would have fought at 45 if they would have let her. But that all has come over the course of like 15 years at the top level at this point. And I don't give a fuck who you are. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is able to hold it at that top level indefinitely. If you get there, you get your time, but nobody stays at that top level forever. Eventually, Father Time starts to win and you start heading on that downhill slide. Lupe Godinez is not a world breaker. I love Lupe Godinez. I love her fucking story. I love everything fucking about it. I love that her sisters are Olympians rather, and do not give her a moment's fucking peace whenever they are around her, and to make a point to keep her on her fucking toes. That is exactly how you fucking should be with your siblings, in my opinion. But if Lupe can even just remotely show us a glimpse of some of that fucking potential that we saw in her couple early fights, I think it could be enough to get past Andrade here. And at this point in her career, if Andrade starts losing to lady journeymen who are still trying to work their way into and through the bottom side of the rankings, like, what is there left? Because obviously at this point, changing weight classes is not going to make a whole lot of difference for her. She's not in the rankings in any division, and she could literally potentially compete in any one of those three weight classes at any given point in the rest of what remains to be her career. The problem is, what is the point? What are you fighting for at this point? Because much respect to Jessica Andrade, first and foremost, for doing it at the UFC level, holding a fucking belt, fighting for belts in multiple fucking weight classes. But how long can you keep fucking going, especially when you've made a point of fluctuating your weight over the course of your career? If Loopy's got her shit together, she's got her I's dotted and her T's fucking crossed, this could be a real bad night for Jessica. And if this turns out to be a real bad night for Jessica, there's not a lot of options left realistically. At this point, the only real thing they have left to give her to keep fighting is literally giving her people making their debuts. And if you start losing to folks making their debut in the UFC, and you've been in the UFC for the better part of a decade, that bill is going to be a little too heavy for the UFC to want to pay anymore. And it's going to time to see you get removed from the roster. I think if Loopy can do what she's capable of doing Saturday night, that's the path that Andrade is going to end up on. The other one here, I will say, obviously, I'm fucking super hyped for Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. I was equally as hyped before it was Lerone Murphy, just because Aaron Pico is finally getting his chance to actually prove himself against the UFC metal here. So that's a given in my book here. The other one for me, TJ talked about a little bit earlier in the odds segment here. Mr. Awkward himself, Tim fucking Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura, like Justin mentioned, is one of those guys that we saw be an absolute fucking world breaker in another organization, came to the UFC and just could never get his feet underneath him. Pants beat the shit out of him, pillar to fucking post, until it was all fucking said and done. Is that a fair estimation of what Kai Asakura is capable of? Or is that one of those situations where the UFC literally brought him in and put him against the highest level fucking test you could possibly have in that division as his debut fucking fight? We've now seen several guys come from other organizations, and gals come from other organizations, and that first fight in the UFC is not what anyone expected, because despite all of the confidence and all the fucking bragging and all the fucking bravissimo they try and fucking muster, when those lights come on and that cage door gets locked behind you, things change a little bit. It's not the same anymore. And the pond that you're used to being the big fish in is suddenly a fucking ocean, and you turn into a minnow real fucking quick. But now we're at that point where Kai Asakura's got not just a fight in the UFC under his belt, a title fight, a main event title fight under his fucking belt in the UFC. And if you watch the UFC Embedded series this week, Kai said it broke him when he lost that fight, because he was so confident in what he thought he should have been able to do and was not able to do, that he quite literally went back to square fucking one throughout all of the things that he was doing, and literally went back to beginner striking class, went back to beginner wrestling class, went back to beginner jiu-jitsu class, and started genuinely from the ground up and relearned every fucking thing. That's the mentality a championship prize fighter should fucking have. And if he's actually been doing what he said he's been doing, this could be a real hell of a fucking match, because Tim Elliott might not be the most frequent fighter in the UFC, but he damn sure is one of the toughest they have on that fucking roster. He's one of those fellas that we like to say is allergic to boring fights. He breaks out the fucking punches. That dude doesn't understand how to have a boring fight, even when he's fucking losing. So the fact that we're putting him in here against a newly redeveloped and rededicated, focused Kai Asakura in the premier prelim fight leading into the fucking main card on the pay-per-view here, I'm all over this fucking fight. That's the one for me. That's the one I'm paying the most attention to.
Well, you took a lot of that clean out of the sales again. It's not surprising that we think on the same wavelength on a lot of these. I'm interested in, I'll say, Jessica Andrade and Lupe Godinez, but not for the reason that everyone thinks. The only reason I'm interested is to see, is Jessica Andrade truly done or not. Okay. I like Lupe Godinez. She takes on a lot. Look, I'll say it. She is second in line in the women for being a company man. she will pick up any fight that they ask her to take. And she wins a lot of them, to her fucking credit.
She's the Lady Kamzat in that way. She's got the record for the quickest turnaround for a female in UFC.
Exactly. So I mean, it's not like she doesn't fucking do it, but she's definitely not a world breaker. And to be honest, like her or not, she's probably never gonna see the title. I'm just being fucking honest here. I like her, but I don't think she'll ever see a title. Now, I will say, obviously, I agree with the co-main event and Lerone Murphy and Aaron Pico, because that can go either fucking way. Lerone Murphy is top 10 material for a fucking reason. He's been solid. He's got great boxing, but he's taking on a fucking Aaron Pico, who, in my opinion, is the best person to come out of another fucking organization into the UFC. And another, I'll say, not just another organization, another legitimate organization. There's one other that I gotta add to the stack other than the co-main event, just because, well, that's the way it is. And I'm gonna say it, and it's not because of the fight itself. It is definitely not because of the fight itself. Bisenga Serkaev and Eric Nolan. This is purely because I want to see if lightning can strike fucking twice. Do we get two Hamzats in one lifetime on really stupidly short fucking turnarounds to just blow the fucking roof off the UFC? This is the only reason I'm excited about this fight. And to be honest, I am fucking glad that they put this fight in the premier prelim spot, because this tells you whether that dude is for real or not. And everyone will be tuning in because everybody's going to be starting to buy the pay-per-view right at around that time. And they better show up and show out, because they have a lot of fucking stuff above them going, hey, let's boost these paychecks. And let me tell you what, if Serkaev comes in there, or Serkaev, I'm probably fucking martyring his name, but I don't care at this point, because at this point he's still a nobody. But if he blows the roof off, we're gonna know his name next week. But if he comes in there, blows the roof off this place, it's all over. Rockets get strapped. We have to strap in for this one. I will be watching this fight, not because of Eric Nolan. I want to make that 100% clear. There's no world where you go, you're watching this fight through for Eric Nolan? Fuck no. I just want to see if we can catch lightning in a fucking bottle. Because, man, I think we need more of it. I mean, they made us wait for lightning in a bottle in a couple other circumstances, which I think was a little fucking crazy. But now we're getting a chance to do it again. Fucking do it. There's sometimes that the UFC makes some really piss poor decisions. This could be one of those times. But it could also be one of those times where you go, greatest decision ever. Lightning in a bottle? We'll only know. Does this thunderstorm roll through, or does it stop and we get that jar ready and catch it? Only one person is going to know, and Serkaev. That's it. Definitely worth a watch. Premier prelim. You're gonna watch anyways, because you're gonna be getting ready to scoot your butt down in the chair and watch Kaya Sakura and Tim Elliott go at it. I'm just saying. There's some real good fucking potential there.
Absolutely. So, Justin, aside from the main and the co-main, which we always have you looking at, are there any other fights in particular that catch your eye on this particular card?
Well, I kind of took the words out of my mouth without doing it. The Kamzat Junior fight. I
Yep.
I want to see it, not for the same reasons. I don't like Kamzat, so I feel like this guy shouldn't make it. So I want to see his partner get smashed. But if he performs like Kamzat does, the man trains with the man all the time. There's a good chance that he's probably gonna make it past, but we'll see.
Yeah, no,
Other than
I
that, bro,
absolutely agree.
other than that, I'm here for the ride, bro.
That's all good. I understand that. I appreciate that as well. So, with that being said, that is what we have got for this particular episode. If for some reason you did not get your fancy completely tickled on this evening, fret not, because Saturday, an hour before the UFC pay-per-view starts, this gentleman, wait, no, he's over here. This gentleman over here and myself will be back here live on both YouTube and Twitch, whichever one you would like to catch, for the pregame show where we give you all of the latest updates and get a little more in depth into the fights, the ones that we will have anyway, because we already lost two and we'll see what goes on between here and there. So if you are into that type of thing, we will lead you directly into the UFC pay-per-view prelims with our show Saturday. But that being said, when we wrap things up around here on Thursday evening, that is not the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning, assumingly, the gentleman who is not here and his other half will drop their podcast over on Spreaker.com, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast. You can catch the links to their podcast and their socials, as well as their link to the I'm No Joe Discord server channel just for the Slow Bake and Contemplate boys, all down in the description, whether you're catching this live, because we do this live pretty much every Thursday. There are fights to talk about over on youtube.com/at I'm No Joe, and now also at twitch.tv/I'm No Joe. But if you're one of those, everyday type of folks with working eyeballs, I get it. We have them too. That's why the week after we go live, we put the all audio version of the podcast out up for you to pick up in your podcast consumption platform of choice, anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. You can get it however you like it. Google, Apple, Spotify, whatever tickles your fancy. We got loose fingers and we're here for you. That being said, if you like what we get up to around here, make sure you click the subscribe and the thumbs up. Make sure your notifications are turned on all if you're on YouTube, so you don't miss any of the shenanigans we get up to around here. We really do appreciate it. The opposite side of that coin, though, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast that you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, if you really like what we get up to around here, the best thing you can do to help us do what we do, patreon.com/I'm No Joe. For as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving, you help us do the things that we do around here. And in exchange for your gracious patronage, first and foremost, we put your name on the end of every broadcast on this channel. So everybody watching and listening knows how fucking awesome you are for helping us out. That being said, no matter what level you pledge at, also patrons get the exclusive, unaired, and unairable content, the things that got us kicked off OnlyFans as a podcast. Only the patrons get to see all that fun stuff now. So whatever you are comfortable with, that is how you do that. The boys have their links down as well, but that is not the end of the fun either, because when we wrap things all the way back around to Wednesdays, most Wednesdays anyhow, generally the same time we start this thing, 8:30, 9 o'clock ish, somewhere around there, over on the Golf T Vapes YouTube channel, you can catch the Foggy Fairway. We'll teach you how to make bathtub e-liquid. We'll teach you all about advocacy. Sometimes we'll just sit and talk shit for an hour and a half. You never know, but it's always a good time. Links for all that and his socials are all down below, whether you're watching or listening. Go click it and tell him how awesome he's doing.
Thank you. I think the thing he forgot to mention, it is summertime, so it's when I feel like doing Wednesday show. So there's a small caveat in there, but yeah, we appreciate it nonetheless. Come hang out. We'll gladly teach you some bathtub e-liquid, because, everybody should know how to make stuff in their bathtub. I mean, I was up to it before we even got started here, making stuff in a bathtub. I won't tell you what it was, but it was making something. Now, should you need something to do in the meantime between now and next Thursday, when we come back to talk again, I hear Meter does many things. Best way to find out what those many things are that the Meter does do is to go down below, click on Linktree / the Meter does many things, or Linktree / I'm No Joe, doesn't matter which one you use. They'll take you to all of the many things that the Meter does do. And you too can fill your life with some more content that you will thoroughly enjoy. And not to mention, it's a great way to kill time. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. So that being said, if you do enjoy the shenanigans that I get up to, I will be online all weekend this weekend. You got us tonight here on Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll have a live stream over on my other main channel for some Devil's Lettuce fuckery. Then Saturday, we'll be right back here with that guy. Wait, no, he's over there. That guy over there for the pregame show to bring you into all the things you need to know, leading you right into 319. And if for some reason you can't get enough of us, but you can't get to the TV to watch 319, fret not, because this weekend and every weekend there are fights to be had. You can also come back here to the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. There's a little link over on the side there. It says shorts. Every time there is a finish in a relevant fight over the course of any weekend, I will give you at least an image of how the fight ended and a little descriptor of what the fuck happened. If they're not YouTube copyright assholes, I might even show you a little bit of video, but I will give you the finishes you need to be aware about all weekend long. So keep your eyes peeled here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel for all the fun and fuckery we get up to. But that is all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times